Let's start with Joel here. Get him the microphone.
I guess one of the obvious questions heading into a game against Auburn, they shoot the three ball more than anybody, and of course you guys have at times had trouble defending the three. How much of an emphasis has that been over the last few days? How concerned are you about slowing that part of Auburn's game down?
Well, really, our first day back was yesterday in terms of, we have the 1 day off a week. So we had a good day yesterday, a good practice. But you're right, they're an outstanding three-point. They're averaging 30 attempts per game. They shoot 45% of their shots from the three-point line on the entire year. And I think in league it's like 47 or 48 right now. So basically half their shots are threes. It's a explosive offense, and when you're starting with Brown is he's shooting 10 threes per game. He's making 50% of them. He's shooting 49%. So he's just a phenomenal player, returning all-league player from a year ago, and conference championship. That backcourt of Harper and Brown is as good as it gets throughout the entire country, in my opinion. Dowdy is a very good shooter. He's shooting 50% from three right now, in the conference. So, they're very good at, creating space because they all shoot it so well. And, there's a lot of opportunity for them to create for each other, and they're great in transition. They really do a good job of getting the ball up and down the floor. And two things that stand out statistically with them. One is they're the number one offensive rebounding team efficiency-wise. They get back literally 38% of their missed shots. It's some just crazy number that's amazing. And they also force a lot of turnovers. So they do a good job of pressuring and getting after you, and they have a very high turnover efficiency rate as well.
Go ahead and get the microphone over to Logan to coach's left.
There were only two players the other night against Kentucky with assists. When you went back and watched the film, was that just was it a poor problem distributing the ball, or was it just a byproduct of missing so many shots?
Yeah, I think it was distributing the ball that we got a little bit, caught up in terms of just not playing how we played the previous two games. Against Florida, we had 19 assists. And against Vanderbilt, I thought we really shared the ball well and had a high number of assists. Both, I know Q had 4, and I think Nick had 5 in that game. And we missed some guys, on penetrating drives, and we've got to get back to slowing down when we get into the paint and reading the open man out on the perimeter and setting it up with pass fakes at times because their hands are so active and they're slapping for the ball. And we did miss some shots. We had some shots that were, decent looks. That, should have been some assists too. So there's a combination of probably both.
Obviously, it's not easy to play on the road, and especially for a freshman at Kentucky. The two freshmen, Robert and Reggie, I think they went 3 for 16 combined. How do you go about reassuring them that, it's not going to be like that every night, and how do you get them to rebound and play well against a ranked team at home a few days later?
Right. Well, the one thing they did do in that game well is they rebounded. You're talking about, I think they had 21 rebounds between the two of them. So, they rebounded the ball well and, played hard. I thought, Robert had a tremendous rebounding effort when you're talking about 13 rebounds in 17 minutes and, 6 offensive, 7 defensive. Reggie did a very good job on the glass as well. And, for those guys, that's, their first time, or actually now second time being on the road in our conference. Or third time, yeah. We're on the road, it seems like forever here early on in this season. We're 5 of our first 8 on the road. But, Rupp Arena, this the mythical, it really is, it's an iconic brand. And, we were rushed a few shots. Like Reggie had one layup, where he rebounded the ball. He put it up so quick, he never even got, the ball clearly in his hands. And our guys were also complaining actually about that ball because it was slippery. And I started to think about it. I said, yeah, like the guy missed a dunk, early in the game. Remember the Kentucky player, he misses a dunk wide open, and it actually slipped. they did not like that basketball, the Nike ball, and I don't know that Kentucky players did in terms of slipping a few times. But those two freshmen will be fine. I mean, they're really getting a lot of experience for young freshmen, and I think performing really admirably well.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl said on the teleconference yesterday he expects teams to attack them inside with Wiley being out. That's something you didn't do a whole lot against Kentucky. I don't think there was any shots by the post players in the post. How much of an emphasis is it to get the ball in the paint?
Yeah, we've got to do a better job this period, not just against Auburn, but against everybody. And one thing I talked about with Eric is that Eric's got to get more touches there closer. I mean, he scored more in the post his sophomore and junior year than he is this year. He's got to get more touches in there, not just to score, but to play through the post, because he's a good passer. And we got to get. I mean, Abdul actually did a good job against Auburn here a year ago in the post, scoring and did a nice job, and us getting him the ball in there. And we've got to continue to try to get him more touches and do a better job. I mean, I thought offensively, when you look at our last game, it was our poorest performance of the year offensively. And we had a good film session, a good practice yesterday. So I think we'll learn from it.
Go to Brett here to coaches, right?
Follow up on the post-play thing. You mentioned this specifically for Tyson earlier in the year, but the post feeds, you want him to be better at that. For the team as a whole, have you seen development in that regard? Are the post feeds kind of moving along?
Yeah, it's something that, against zones, for example, I think I use that in reference to Tyson, when you're feeding, and we'll see some zone potentially against Auburn because they played a lot of it against South Carolina in their last game. They played a 1-1-3 matchup type zone. But we have to, we got to do a better job sealing. We got to do a better job sealing and getting in there and looking in there. And no question, it's something we've talked about extensively here in the last because, you look at our last game, our starting 4 and 5 had like 5 shots attempted, and it's just not enough.
Anything else for Coach? We'll get the microphone to you. Raise your hand. We'll go ahead and get it to Brian here in the front.
Last 2 games, I believe it's 8 for 39 from behind the arc. You guys have been so much better from three-point shooting prior to those last 2 games. Are you worried about it becoming a trend, or what are you seeing there from the perimeter?
Everybody shot yesterday. We put a lot of time in shooting yesterday, and for example, I want Q to take more. Q's only taken 9 threes in our first 5 league games, and 4 of those were against South Carolina. So he's gotten 2 of the league games where he didn't even attempt a 3, and so we need him to look to shoot more of those. But I think we're a good shooting team, and we just got to be a little more patient and get some better looks on some of the ones we were taking, and we got to knock down the ones we do get. Like, for example, Tyson had a wide open 3 that he's rarely going to miss against them in the second half. That would have cut the game to like 2 out of a timeout. Robert Woodard had a 3 that would have cut it to 5 with 9 minutes to go, and he's shooting the ball well in practice every day. So it was a pretty good look. So we had some good looks, and we have to cut down on our looks from 25 feet. Like Q's first 3 of the game against Kentucky was too far out. Lamar had one that was too far out beginning of the second half. Eric's first shot of the game was like a 24-footer, just anxious to get things going and show that, a little more, poised to let it come to you.
Anything else for Coach? We'll get Q and Reggie in there for you guys.
Okay.
All right, thank you, guys. And we'll get the mic to you for questions for the players. Who wants to go ahead and lead off? We'll go ahead and start with Joel here, front right.
Auburn takes more threes than any team in the league, I think, and I know that you guys have this season at times kind of tried to prioritize that three-point defense for you guys. Do you feel like you guys have made strides forward over the last few weeks in defending the 3? I guess how big of a concern is that for you guys heading into the game Saturday?
We just trying to come out and play as hard as we can on the defensive end and try to track some of them long rebounds down that we know they're gonna take a lot of threes. So if we can just get a lot of rebounds and defend real good, I think we got a good chance of winning.
Q, you had a stretch in that Kentucky game. I think you scored 5 in a row, a 3-point play. I think it cut it to a 2-point deficit. Next thing you know, Kentucky's back up by 10. What do you guys have to do or say even in huddles during timeouts to sort of keep that game close and not let it go the way it did?
I think we just got to keep our composure and keep our emotions out the game, and we'll be just fine.
Coach Howland was just in here a minute ago talking about how he's trying to encourage you to shoot more threes in conference play. I saw you in there working on your threes today. Just how much more of an emphasis you going to try to put on that in the next couple of games?
Just taking what the defense give me. Honestly, I feel like I can get by anybody in this league driving the basketball. So if that's what I got to do to try to help my team win, I'm going to keep doing it.
Any questions for the players? We'll go ahead and get it back to Tyler here.
Reggie, Coach was just in here talking about your performance against Kentucky. You probably didn't shoot the way you wanted to, but a lot of guys on the team could probably say that. But you guys did do pretty well on the glass and rebounding. What can you take away from that game coming into a game against Auburn, another ranked team here on your home floor?
Well, we know this Auburn game going to be physical, just like the Kentucky game. It's probably going to be a lot more physical, though. But we just got to, like you said, hold our composure and play hard.
Anything else for the players? All right. Thank you, guys.